Could we have video? The egg is a symbol of trust. When it's whole, we trust it. But when it's broken, it's the same as trust. Once it's broken, do we get the trust back? Can you put the egg back together? No. So the first time we trusted Spire, they invited us to community action, and it was always on a school night. It was always like parent-teacher night. Then they brought us in to say, well, what would you like? As if they're going to lease their property. If I asked for a spa, if I asked for a pet shop, forget it, they're not leasing to them. This did not give us the feeling of honesty, of respect for the neighborhood. So often things were presented and said, we'll have a meeting tonight. Was the meeting held? No, it gets postponed. We in the neighborhood, meanwhile, are having different people deliver our kids to soccer, different times for lessons. Then the robocall. Oh my gosh. It's like, have you stopped beating your wife yet? There was no way to say that you were against. There was no way. It was like, oh, PUD means plan before you build. Aren't you in favor of planning? They gave you no explanation that it meant new zoning. Then, oh, affordable housing. And do you remember when it was asked whether or not that had to be affordable housing or it could be turned into efficiencies for hotels? If that could be turned into STRs? And the answer was, well, yeah, it's not really affordable housing. So how could somebody come and tell me to my face it's affordable housing when it might not be? Then, deadlines. Okay, we're supposed to get paperwork in. When I'm asked for paperwork, I get it in on time, and it's complete. Were the reports on time? No. So once again, where is my trust on this? It's like an egg. It's broken. It's broken. I offered my trust, but it's trust and verify, and when I verified, it wasn't there. The tree survey. So, oh, oops, it's 2013 instead of 2017. Well, in 2013, I was 100 pounds less. Should I still be wearing my size 6 bikini? Things change. Things change. Trees grow in that amount of time. So the 2013 survey is not acceptable. It's not. Many of the trees that are protected have now become heritage trees. So you're willing to saw them off and cut them down, but you're not willing to measure them first? Then, charrette, where the vote is given the night before the charrette ends. It's by invitation only, and the only people who are invited are the ones who are for it. Well, I wonder why it wound up with such a good vote. That's not fair. We were not represented in that charrette at all. Once again, an egg. Trust is broken. Trust is broken. And who was asked? Only a couple of leaders who were in favor at Nowaka. The whole other list that I've got there, the whole other list was not represented. We had to come here and say, but we're a neighborhood association also. The people who you heard from, who were being quoted as being the neighborhood association, were maybe 3% of the people who are involved in this. Oh, and also at the charrette. You know, there are artists who can take perspective and skew it. The perspective of this 20-story building was as if it was in a 45-acre meadow with 200 tall feet trees. And this is the same building from my perspective. It's from a vulture's perspective about 4 feet from the top. It's the same size building. I know how to scale things. That's what the building looks like. So once again, sure, he doesn't say 20-story building still, but trust. When somebody does this to me, I don't trust them. Now, I discovered, because I use millimeters when I measure things and do things to precise scale, that I believe all of the plans you've been looking at are smaller. They're like the little blue box. There's a 6% that you add in case you're having elevators and air ducts and stairwells. It's called the load factor. It wasn't added. Measure. Get your millimeters and measure. It wasn't added. So there are 3 different sizes involved, and you're only seeing the smallest. Measure it. Again, trust? Would you let your dentist work on your teeth if he were doing this sort of thing? Would you? So all these plans, they're wrong. They are not correct. And trees, these are the trees. These are to scale. So we look at this and we say, okay, we were also offered a plan. We were also offered one that actually follows code. So let's look at this. First of all, the measurements here that were given have a little, we just added it on. Once again, the tree survey, oops, we'll use 2013. Oops, the measurements don't work out, so we'll just say we won't exceed the larger measurements, not the smaller ones. If you didn't check the math, you wouldn't notice. Now, at the charrette, they showed us a plan to code. You don't need much of an artistic eye to see that this plan, number one, covered as much with impervious cover as it possibly could. It put every building in a location that took the most trees it possibly could. And it is in Flint, Michigan, red brick. I mean, could you sell something less? Honestly, had you asked me to spend about, 100 hours, I probably could have designed something better than this. It's trust. It's like an egg. It's solid. You can hold it. It doesn't drip. You trust it until it's broken. And what happens once the trust is broken? Do you actually say, of course you can have a PUD, and if you want to change it afterwards, it's fine? Because money is the factor behind this. If you add 4 zeros to all those hundreds that you're seeing up there, this is what was paid. It was $45 million, at least was the asset, it was assessed at that by TCAD. Here's how much that property is worth now. $83 million. Without building anything, they've made a profit. Mind you, the trees didn't grow, but the investment did? Exactly how does that work? So there's all that money there, and money is what is driving this. Here on the left, you see how much annual rent, again, add 4 zeros, annual rent. Here is if it's built to code. It's triple the amount, to code. Look at the difference in money. That's a lot of money sitting on that table. And now, if you look, all this money that they're making in other places, and why are they fighting so much? What are they fighting about? They're saying it's only another 10 million. You know what? I don't think they'd be fighting so hard if that's actually what they meant. Look at the 10 million over here and the 40 million over there, and you're telling me just for a simple another 10, they're doing all this? I don't think they're going to stick to the plan. I don't think so. I honestly don't. Again, we have the egg in the hand, and you break it. The trust is broken. Do you really think that you can take the word of these people? I don't think so. And we're ready for the next video. This is going back to the first one. Okay. So, we would like to take a look also at these trees. These trees are done absolutely to scale. I had a little trouble with the topography. It might be about 1 or 2 millimeters off on the topography here, okay? And the trees that are the heritage trees, which are tinted turquoise, and the protected trees, which are tinted yellow, are all in the exact spot where the trees now exist. And you can see there's lots of room to build without taking out any trees whatsoever. Now, let's see how many stories was it? No, 20, no, 7. How many heritage trees were taken out? 16, no, 9, no, 11, no, how many? You know, you remember the shell game? This is a game of green eggs and sham. I don't know how many, how many is he taking out? Where are they? It keeps changing by the day. Now, FDR said Forests are the lungs of our land, purifying the air and giving fresh strength to our people. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says 1 acre of trees absorbs 6 tons of carbon dioxide and puts out 4 tons of oxygen. This is enough for the annual needs of 18 people. So, which of these 18 people are you going to deprive of oxygen? That's how much oxygen you are taking from our neighborhood. I don't want that to happen. The Department of Agriculture also goes on to say the net cooling effect of 1 healthy tree is the equivalent of 10 room-sized air conditioners operating 20 hours a day. Oh, look at all this free air conditioning we're getting now. I wonder how much is going to be left. The U.S. Forest Service says planting of trees means improving water quality, resulting in less runoff and erosion. I know from my house what erosion and runoff do. This allows for more recharging of the ground, water supply. Wooded areas prevent the transport and sediment of chemicals into streams. Is that not something all of us are concerned about? Now, transpiration is also the process where trees let off evaporation, and it has been shown that where there are a number of trees, more rain falls in that area. So you're saying you're taking away our oxygen, and you're taking away our rain, and you're making our neighborhood hotter so that Spire can make more money. Let me see what kind of a deal I think that is. And do I trust Spire to take care of these trees? Do I think Spire will actually be a trustworthy person and take care of this? Somehow I don't think so. Now, I would like to ask some friends up to show you exactly what happens. Can I have my volunteers? This is what happens when you start building. There's music. You can start. Yeah, see, we're losing all these trees here. Oxygen. Is that yours or maybe your child's? It is just... we're forgetting. We also have lots and lots of cars going in at the same time. Anybody want to put these cars? Again, as I mentioned, the cars are actually 6 times larger than the little pins I'm putting in. I brought 1,000 of them because that's how many. And you can see from the number of pins how many more. Lots of boxes. So here we are with all these beautiful trees on this area, this beautiful, beautiful Austin oaks. And do we trust what's going to happen? Do we honestly, in our hearts, feel that we can just look the other way and have a wonderful job? You know, it's a lot less expensive to clear cut the whole thing. So, as I look at this, thank you. This is where we are now. And this is actually to code. We haven't started the PUD yet, because the PUD involves heritage trees too, the big ones, protected trees. How many was it again? Was it 12? Was it 15? Was it 30? How many? How many? And who's watching? Who's overseeing? Do we honestly think that after all of those incidents that broke our trust when we were offering it, do we honestly think that we don't need to be marching up and down measuring trees every day? Go for it. Clear cut. Why not? It's cheaper and nobody's watching. It's like the 2013 tree survey. Oops, was it 2013 instead of 2017? My fault, sorry, but we'll use 2013. Just because I wasn't ready with the right tree survey doesn't mean that I'm responsible. It means I can just change the rules. So that's why I expect changed rules when I looked at this. No, it's not 15. Can I finish? Okay.
You can wrap up.
It's with sadness of spirit and heaviness of heart that I look at this project, that I really think we should not allow a PUD, and we should also monitor on a daily basis just how well the promise is being kept. Because to tell you the truth, I don't sleep well at night thinking about the promises that might get broken.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Miss.
That's okay.
I offered to bring a broom.
That's okay. We can just move the table for now. We can pick up those other stuff later.
Yeah, let's
The next speaker is going to be Caroline Alexander. And then next would be Melissa Shawn. Ms. Alexander, you have 3 minutes.